They say the courtroom is where truth meets power, but sometimes power gets caught twisting the truth. In today's episode, we're diving into two unbelievable real-life courtroom moments that expose what really happens when ordinary people decide to represent themselves against the system. Our first case? A Georgia woman who stood toe-to-toe with a sheriff's lieutenant and dismantled his story so completely, even the judge had no choice but to drop every single charge. And later, we'll witness what happens when another self-represented defendant tries the same thing, but with a very different outcome. So buckle up, because this isn't just about traffic tickets or technicalities. It's about confidence versus chaos, preparation versus pride, and the razor-thin line between justice and disaster. Let's start with the woman who outsmarted a cop, lived on Zoom, and walked away completely free. When Lieutenant Sims from the Douglas County Sheriff's Office logged into a routine Zoom hearing, he expected another quick conviction. But the woman on the other side of the screen, Sydney Steele, wasn't about to roll over. She was representing herself, armed with nothing but the truth, and a few crucial details the officer didn't see coming. It all started when Sims claimed she was speeding through Douglasville, going 15 miles over the limit. He testified confidently until Sydney asked him one simple question. "Can you show the calibration for the radar gun that day?" The courtroom went quiet. Sims hesitated. He didn't have the documentation. He didn't even remember if the radar had been checked that week. The judge's eyes narrowed. What began as a confident police testimony was suddenly crumbling in real time. Sydney kept her calm. She didn't yell. She didn't argue. She simply followed every inconsistency like a bloodhound on the scent. When Sims admitted he hadn't seen the posted speed limit sign, only assumed what it was, that was it. The case fell apart faster than anyone expected. And then came the moment no one saw coming. The judge looked directly at Sydney and dismissed every single charge. Just like that, the case was over. Live on camera. But this wasn't just a personal victory. Within hours, clips of the hearing exploded across social media. Millions watched in disbelief as a regular citizen calmly exposed holes in a trained officer's testimony. Comment sections flooded with praise, calling her a legend, a hero, and the new face of courtroom courage. Yet, behind the viral moment lies a much deeper truth about how easily confidence and preparation can flip the balance of power, even in a system designed to favor authority. Because if Sydney Steele could do it once, what would happen when someone else tried to follow her lead? If Sydney Steele was the picture of calm control, Trevor Mloud was her complete opposite. He walked into his hearing with the same kind of self-assured energy, convinced he could talk circles around the legal system. But within minutes, that confidence started to unravel. Fast. Trevor was facing multiple charges, and instead of a lawyer, he came ready to educate the court. His words, not ours. He opened with a long speech about his constitutional rights and sovereign status. The judge tried to cut in. Trevor talked over him. The clerk asked him to stop. Trevor ignored her. It was a train wreck unfolding in real time, streamed to thousands online. And when the judge finally had enough, he muted Trevor mid-rant. But instead of stopping there, Trevor started holding up printed legal documents to the camera, papers full of internet law jargon that had no real standing in court. The more he spoke, the worse it got. What made things even more unbelievable was how different his energy was from Sydney's. She had stayed calm, focused, and respectful, picking her battles with precision. Trevor, on the other hand, turned his hearing into a shouting match. The result? Instead of walking out free like Sydney, Trevor ended up with every single charge upheld, plus a few added penalties for contempt. Clips from the hearing went viral too, but for all the wrong reasons. Commenters flooded in with second-hand embarrassment, calling it a masterclass in what not to do, and proof that confidence without knowledge is a disaster. And here's the twist. Both cases happened within weeks of each other. Two people, both representing themselves. One exposed flaws in the system with surgical precision. The other exposed his own. Over the past few years, the phrase pro se meaning to represent yourself in court, has turned from a legal term into a viral movement, and much of it started online. Social media is flooded with clips of people like Sydney Steele, calm, confident, and seemingly unstoppable, turning courtrooms upside down without a single lawyer by their side. TikTok, YouTube, and Reddit are packed with viral moments labeled "Sovereign Citizen Wins" or "Pro Se Destroys Prosecutor." But here's the thing. Not all of these stories end like Sydney's. Legal experts warn that for every one person who wins big, hundreds crash and burn quietly, off camera. Still, the idea of fighting back against the system has struck a nerve. People are tired of feeling powerless, especially when court fees, fines, and legal costs keep piling up. And it's not just traffic tickets. From eviction hearings to small claims to even criminal trials, a growing wave of citizens are walking in alone, convinced they can outsmart the system with research, courage, and conviction. But it's not that simple. Because what most viral clips don't show are the hours of preparation, studying case law, and learning courtroom etiquette that go into those rare victories. Sydney's win wasn't luck. It was strategy. Trevor's loss wasn't bad luck. It was arrogance. And that contrast has now become the heart of a massive online debate. Is the pro-se movement empowering ordinary people, or just setting them up to fail? Whatever your answer, one thing is certain. This trend isn't slowing down anytime soon. But with so much public attention on courtroom showdowns, one question keeps surfacing. How much power do judges really have when someone decides to defend themselves? And what happens when that power gets challenged live on camera? Judges aren't supposed to care about public opinion. But in the age of viral trials, that's becoming almost impossible. Once a courtroom moment hits the internet, it stops being just a case. It becomes a show. Millions of viewers turn into instant critics, analyzing every raised eyebrow, every objection, every verdict. And judges? They're suddenly walking a tightrope between upholding the law and avoiding the next trending scandal. In Sydney's case, viewers praised the judge for staying calm, fair, and willing to listen, even when a lieutenant's testimony fell apart. But in Trevor's case, the online reaction was completely different. People accused the judge of being too harsh, too dismissive, too unwilling to hear him out. It's a double-edged sword. The same transparency that holds authority accountable can also twist perception, because what looks like justice served to one viewer might look like bias to another. And that puts pressure on the entire justice system. Courtrooms were never designed for viral fame, but now every hearing could become a headline. Every gavel hit could spark a comment war. For judges, that means balancing the rulebook with real-time public judgment. And for defendants, especially those representing themselves, it means one wrong word, one emotional outburst, could define them online forever. Winning or losing in court used to end when the judge banged the gavel. But now it's only the beginning. For Sydney Steele, going viral turned her into a symbol, a quiet hero for anyone who's ever felt bullied by authority. Her inbox flooded with messages from strangers thanking her for proving that ordinary people still have power. Reporters reached out. Podcasts wanted interviews. And while she never asked for fame, she became the face of courtroom courage. But for Trevor Mloud, it was the exact opposite. His meltdown became meme material, replayed, mocked, and remixed across social media. Comments labeled him the self-proclaimed lawyer who schooled no one. He disappeared from the internet entirely soon after, probably realizing what millions of viewers already knew, that once the internet turns you into a punchline, it's hard to recover, and that's the hidden cost of viral justice. For every story that inspires, another becomes a cautionary tale. Because when you face the system publicly, you're not just fighting your case, you're fighting the court of public opinion too. Still, both of these stories, Sydney's victory and Trevor's downfall, have sparked a much larger conversation about accountability, power, and preparation. They've forced people to ask, if truth can set you free, why do so few people know how to use it? At the end of the day, Sydney and Trevor walked into the same kind of courtroom, But they didn't walk out with the same lesson. Sydney proved that calm, preparation, and precision can turn even the smallest voice into the loudest truth. Trevor proved that passion without purpose can destroy your case before it even begins. And together, their stories expose something bigger than any single verdict. They show how fragile power really is, how it can shift, crack, and even collapse the moment someone dares to question it. They remind us that the courtroom isn't just a legal battlefield. It's a mirror of who we are when we're forced to defend ourselves. So the next time you see a clip of someone owning a cop or destroying a prosecutor, remember, behind every viral moment is a real person gambling with their future. Live for the world to judge. Because in this new age of digital justice, truth isn't just what you can prove. It's how you present it. And as Sydney Steele showed us, sometimes one well-placed question can silence the entire room.